Hey there, boys and girls, how you doing? Welcome to the podcast. I'm Dan Ashendorf, and today we're going to be talking about something really cool, which is a nice little way to be catapulting our results, whatever it is in life, relationships, money, happiness, anything that matters to you. We're going to be looking at increasing it by 10 times or more. Sneaky little way, so we're going to be talking about that in just a minute. But before we do, remember to join my Facebook group. That's really important because we've got a lovely community there of like-minded people, high achievers. And to get into the group, you need to be searching on internet marketing. Does it work? And that's going to take you there. Alternatively, if you want to have chat to me direct, it's daniel.ashendorf@gmail.com. So back to the method, and what it is surrounding ourselves with winners. And this comes on the back of a quote that I love from the great Bryan Tracy, and it's like this: if you associate yourself with turkeys, you will never fly with the eagles. If you associate with turkeys, you will never fly with the eagles. So we need to be surrounding ourselves with eagles. And how do we do this? There's a few ways. There's the ways that everyone tells you about, and I'm going to tell you a couple of other ways which are a little bit more off the beaten track. So what usually people do is they go out and pay for coaching. Now that can be expensive. I think it's a good way. It doesn't necessarily work as you expect it, because oftentimes you pay people to be associated with them and they're not really your friends. I mean, they're going to be telling you some stuff, they're going to be telling you good stuff, they have to by contract, but oftentimes it doesn't have the desired results because it's quite, I'm trying to think of the word here, it's just transactional, isn't it? It doesn't come from the heart. That's what I was looking to say there, transactional. So we want something that's a bit more, kind of comes from the heart, just because people want to give you information. Of course, you can pay them as well if you want, but we're looking at alternative methods. So let's look at a few other ways. Now, the first thing I would say is that we need to be giving value, not just taking value. That's really important, because when we start to give value, that automatically is going to be attracting people to us. Now, it might not be getting the amazingly high flyers all the time, but it's certainly a good way to get into groups of people, cliques, and just by adding value, you are going to be in the parties. They say you're going to be getting invited to different places like launches and business opportunities, and it's happened to me again and again. I mean, I always team up with other people, and the reason for that is because I add value. I just find ways to be adding value, and I get invited to be a JV manager or a copywriter or something like that. So if you add value, you are going to be invited to the party. Now, the second thing you need to be doing is you need to be putting yourself in places where people of worth, the eagles of your industry, are hanging out. Now, this was easier a few years ago before lockdown. We used to be traveling to these events, but there are still virtual events today. So hang out on virtual events, get together with people as much as you can, and if you're going to be hanging out in the same places where winners are going to be hanging out, then you are going to be exposed to the eagles of your industry. Now, what I was going to suggest for you to do, and this is something I do, is every so often just find an excuse to speak to someone on Zoom. Now, some of the best relationships that I've created in the industry, and this works in any industry, is through just having a chat to someone. And what's good about this is you don't have to get on a plane, spend thousands of dollars staying in a hotel, and then you got the entrance fees on top of that. You don't have to do this. All you want to be doing is reaching out to people and just saying, hey, I'd like to connect. I've got this value. This goes back to the value that we just spoke about. I've got this bit of value I want to be sharing with you. Why don't we just jump on a call and I can explain, or find another way to make that connection. Now, something else that is a really good way to make connections with people is through interviewing them on a podcast, and that's a really strong signal that you're thinking highly of them. And again, I've done that with people. I've got a podcast, which part of it is what I'm doing at the moment, just recording messages, but the other part is where I interview specialists in their field, and you can really get a hold of some amazing people. The other thing I did in the past is I wrote a book and I launched products which are to do with experts, with people who are prominent in their field, in my field, internet marketing, and I just interviewed them. I just had a chat to them, and we just got on a chat for 30-40 minutes, and it was great. Made some really good connections, and yeah, so once we do that, then we can sort of get into their mindset, which is really important, because that's really what you want to be doing. You don't want to be making friends for the sake of just making friends. What we want to be doing is getting into their mindset, understanding how they work, how they solve problems, how they come up with ideas, how they network. So we get into their minds, and of course they need to be able to do the same for us, which is absolutely fine. But the more we do this, the more likely we are to really be prominent in our field, 10x, 20x, 30x. So just think about this, guys. We want to be stepping out of the comfort zone. We don't want to be just spending time working, because reaching out, I'm just finding this is incredibly powerful. The other thing I find really powerful is to get away from kind of where I live, my circumstances, and just go to different neighborhoods, all the very prominent, all the very wealthy neighborhoods, just kind of drive around there, see how really successful people live, and that's motivating. The other thing I do is read publications, like for me it's the Financial Times and the Economist, and that really broadens my horizons. I can see what some people do financially and spiritually, and it's absolutely mind-blowing, the ability of people to produce, to excel, to me is hugely inspiring, and I think that really is a good precursor to achieving more in our lives. Thank you very much for listening. Speak to you in the next one. Boys and girls, all the best. Bye.